You know, I'm so glad everybody enjoys my hearty laughter, man. I enjoy a good laugh. I like to laugh. I'm not miserable all the time. Believe me, I'm not. I'm actually pretty decent to be around when I'm in a good mood. But I'm enjoying getting a kick out of AEW's embarrassments and AEW's failures. It's just comedy to me, man. I have to laugh about it. I have to. What else is going to make me laugh besides Tony Khan and him constantly fumbling more than the Jaguars? I'm glad everybody enjoyed yesterday's laugh. I'm glad everybody enjoyed me laughing over the AEW embarrassment. But today there's no laughing matter, bro. Today there's no laughing matter. There's really nothing to laugh about. Yesterday we talked about the Andrade situation and WWE bringing the hammer down after he had already debuted on AEW television again. Returning to AEW on October 1st, attacking Kenny Omega, joining the Don Callis family, and once again finding himself in All Elite Wrestling. He then disappeared for 3 weeks. He went on to win the Crash Heavyweight Championship in Mexico. And then we never seen or heard of him again. He wasn't even mentioned by name, or the attack on Omega wasn't even brought up on commentary. Everybody started just wondering where Andrade was. We come to find out yesterday that WWE sent a cease and desist to AEW and brought the hammer down on Andrade, giving him a 90-day non-compete after he had already signed an AEW contract. Yes, it was funny. And yes, it's very stereotypical of WWE to do something like that. It's within their boundaries to do something like that. It's standard protocol with the 90-day non-compete. But we discussed that Andrade, he wasn't really outright released like a budget cut or WWE just cutting roster. He was outright fired. And we didn't know if that actually came with a 90-day non-compete. AEW didn't do their due diligence. Their AEW's legal team there, they didn't really go and investigate what was going on with this. They did no groundwork whatsoever. They did not investigate if he had a 90-day non-compete. If he did, how do we work around that? They just assumed that Andrade didn't have a 90-day non-compete. They brought him to television, and they made themselves look like a bunch of fucking idiots. It's exactly what they made themselves look like. Egg on their face. I love when they embarrass themselves. It's fucking so terrible. It's a sloppy shop. It's amateur hour over there. We all know that. After 6 years, we definitely now know how AEW is run. It is not a real business. It is a pro wrestling promoter trying to act like a big-time pro wrestling promoter, and he is absolutely fucking clueless. It is not a pro wrestling company. They are trying to run a pro wrestling company and want to run a pro wrestling company while doing none of the legwork to actually be a business. It's basically what it is. How they didn't find any of this out and how they brought him to television without knowing any of this is absolutely mind-boggling to me. The only reason why they brought Andrade to television is because they are so in need, so desperate for any spotlight, any engagement, any excitement, because their product is dying. It is dead. Nobody cares about anything going on in AEW except for a very, and I mean very, small pocket of people. 90 days without pay. The without pay part, some people are looking at it as fucked up. Andrade cost himself the 90 days with no pay. Andrade failed multiple wellness policy tests. He failed multiple tests. I don't know if you guys know, but if you fail the first test, I believe it's 30 days. Second test, it's 60 days. Third test, you fail, you're fired. We don't know how many tests Andrade was given. We don't know how many tests Andrade had failed. From the last report, when this was a big talking point when he was fired from WWE, the report stated that he failed multiple tests. We don't know what multiple tests is. It could be 2, it could be 3. We don't know. We don't know what's going on there. The way that I look at it is that if you fail one test, fine, 30 days. You don't go and make that mistake again. You do everything to adhere to the WWE Wellness Policy. You'd think he would make the corrections to not have that happen again. So the next time that they test him, he actually is clean. He fails the second test. We don't know if he went on to fail a third test, but If there's multiple violations for the same thing, you start raising the flag. Those red flags are waving very bright and very high. Is this guy trying to get out of his contract? Is he doing this on purpose? Why doesn't he know what he's failing for? Why is there an issue here? WWE looked at it in that same exact way. They thought Andrade, who I think by all accounts, if you just watch the way he's booked on television since he came back to WWE, the man was unhappy. He was not where he wanted to be creatively. They weren't using him to the best of his abilities. Andrade considers himself a top guy. He considers himself a main event player, and he wrestles like one. I don't know if he really is for the American television audience, but that's what he thought himself as. WWE thought that he was trying to get out of his contract, and they fired him. So he shows up immediately for the competition on their A show. The A show, yeah. I don't even know if it's right to call Dynamite an A show, but it is their A show. It's their flagship show. He shows up there almost immediately after getting fired. Within the next week, gets into a program with Kenny Omega and is back on AEW television, integrated into their biggest faction. WWE looks at this and says, whoa. Wait a minute, Idolo. What are you doing, bro? 90 days. 90 days. They thought that he was failing the tests to simply get out of his WWE contract to then go make money with the competition and go to the competition side and think nothing was going to come of it. I said on social media, if Andrade maybe hadn't failed his wellness policy tests, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation to begin with. 90 days with no pay. I actually agreed with that. 90 days is protocol by WWE. The non-pay aspect is because they thought he was looking for a way to get out of his contract, and the loophole that he thought he found, they fucking shut that shit down immediately. That's where we are right now. Unfortunately, after the video that I posted yesterday went live, there was even a worse report. And I'm going to read to you Fightful's side. They had put out something in regards to Andrade. We took it from Mike Johnson. Today we're taking it from Sapp. And then there's a bigger update, which is absolutely awful and something I absolutely do not agree with. And I think it's almost downright humane. In fact, it is. It is. So we're going to go over that today. Thank you guys very much for joining me here on Off the Script. It is your Friday, 10/17/2025. The Andrade situation is a mess, says Sean Ross Sapp. After popping up in AEW in early October 1st to be exact, Andrade disappeared and was pulled from all indie bookings. Things were very quiet in the weeks that followed until Wrestling Observer revealed that WWE sent AEW a cease and desist, indicating that he was still under contract to them. Sources that Fightful spoke to with familiarity of the situation said they didn't believe it was AEW or Andrade's fault. It is absolutely Andrade's fault. He failed multiple tests. It is AEW's fault. Not only did Andrade's lawyers didn't know, AEW's legal team didn't know, and they didn't do the groundwork to cover their bases, and they brought this guy to television. They brought him to television for one reason. We need something. We need to generate something. I don't know why you looked at Andrade as that something, but they embarrassed themselves. They did no groundwork whatsoever and did not look into any of the legalities that followed Andrade's termination. So yes, AEW and Andrade are at fault. Rumors of this situation emerged eternally last week, and the belief is that WWE had just effectively told Andrade that he was done without any knowledge of a non-compete. Well, maybe if you did some fucking research on that and looked over your contract, or had a lawyer look over your contract, or have AEW look over your contract situation, maybe you would have figured out that a non-compete was a reality for you. All because it's not there, or all because you weren't told, doesn't mean it's not there. At that point, Andrade began taking additional bookings and signed with AEW. He had a team of representatives speak with Tony Khan, and Tony Khan and Andrade saw each other for the first time the day of his return. In the past, WWE's period of contract termination notice was referred to as a non-compete, but wasn't actually that, as the talent would get paid. I won't be surprised if WWE sues AEW for contract tampering, because that's a possibility too. There were actual non-competes in the past, such as Brock Lesnar when he left WWE in 2004. Per the terms of his release, he signed a non-compete for years and wasn't getting paid. However, that didn't hold up in court. Lesnar even changed the name of his F5 finish to The Verdict, says Sapp. WWE staff, roster, and sources also believe he was gone from the company with no additional time left on his deal ever since Andrade was fired by WWE. Under normal circumstances, WWE could technically ask him to come back to work for their TV, but that would undermine the wellness policy element of his departure. No age, which means what? Which means what exactly? It would undermine the wellness policy element of his departure. So did he fail 3 tests and then get terminated? WWE could bring him back to television, but then that would mean the wellness policy violations, and the wellness policy itself is a complete sham. So did he fail 3 tests, which led to his termination? I don't know. You got to ask. No agents we spoke to, says Sapp, have ever heard of pay being docked during a wellness policy violation either. Well, when you fail multiple tests and the company looks at that as a potential for you failing the test as a way out of the company, well, they have every right to dock your fucking pay and not pay you during your non-compete. Just saying. We're told by AEW sources that his absence did affect immediate creative plans for AEW Dynamite and Wrestle Dream, as did the unfortunate Kota Ibushi injury. Sure thing. What did Kota Ibushi do before the injury? He wasn't even on fucking TV. What did the injury derail creatively? They don't even know what they're doing creatively for Wednesday. You know when they'll find out? On Wednesday. What the fuck they're doing on Dynamite. However, there appears to be no bad blood towards Andrade, and the working plan is still for him to compete in AEW when the situation is cleared up. We'll be asking Tony Khan about this on the media call for Wrestle Dream. Someone close to Andrade told Fightful that he was in good spirits this week despite the situation and was keeping it very quiet. In an update, a number of people have indicated to Fightful Select that Andrade has a very good lawyer. Yes. The lawyer that clearly didn't see that there could have been a non-compete here for Andrade. And the lawyer, the very good lawyer, that said it was all right for him to go sign with AEW and then magically show up on their television show with no fucking circumstances surrounding it. Sure thing, man. He's got a very good lawyer. Didn't specify if he was fighting it. The 90-day period is often referred to as a non-compete, but is actually more of a notice of contract expiration as talent gets paid. PW Insider reported that Andrade would not be getting paid during that non-compete, which I do agree with. The conflicting element is that almost any court situation to fight it would extend past 90 days. However, that's where things differ from the norm. Wrestling Observer reported that WWE and TKO actually have a clause in their contract where a person at cause, a person that was fired with cause, their non-compete could be extended for a full 365 days, 1 year. Fightful actually learned the language of that clause, and I quote, upon termination of this agreement by promoter for breach of the terms hereof, wrestlers shall not work, appear, or perform in any capacity for any professional wrestling, sports entertainment, mixed martial arts, and or ultimate fighting organization, promotion or entity not owned or controlled by promoter or any affiliated or subsidiary company thereof in the United States for a period of up to 1 year from the date of such expiration or termination as specified by promoter in the notice of termination, provided, however, that if no lesser period is specified by promoter in the notice of termination, such period shall be 1 year. There is also a follow-up that says, in no circumstances whatsoever shall either party to this agreement be liable to the other party for any damages, whether arising out of the breach of this agreement or otherwise, are expressively waived. And I said this to somebody Because I actually found out about this after my video went live yesterday. I read this, and I said, there's no way this holds up in the court of law. If he wants to take this and fight this, there's no way that this upholds in the court of law. And a lot of people said, no, I think this would get thrown out completely. The situation is Andrade fucked up. The situation is Andrade's legal team, AEW's legal team, did not do Andrade any justice whatsoever. Andrade fucked up in a way where he tried to get out of his WWE contract, and WWE smelled the trail of bullshit that he was leaving behind, and they were very keen on what he was trying to do. Andrade tried to get out of his WWE contract by failing multiple wellness tests. He was violated on more than one occasion. 2, 3 times, we don't know. But he was absolutely trying to get out of his WWE deal. They knew what he was doing. They fired him for whatever he was doing. And he goes and joins AEW. And they said, hold up, man, you ain't going anywhere yet. You got 90 days. Now, I don't know why they didn't levy the 90 days as soon as he was fired or let him know that the 90 days was going to go into effect the day he was fired. Why they waited until he joined AEW to show up on their television and then give him the 90 days. I don't know why any of that happened. I mean, that's just fucking bullshit. That's just headache on top of headache, and that's WWE being WWE, especially when AEW is in the picture. WWE is going to try to embarrass AEW any chance that they get. It's what they do. They live for this shit. I don't know why that aspect happened. They could have just given this guy the 90 days before he signed with AEW, and none of this would be a talking point. And he'd be out for 90 days, not getting paid for his own doings, and then we see him in December somewhere. It would have been, goodbye, all done. Now he's looking at potentially a year. That's the part I don't understand. That's the part I think is fucked up. You cannot levy a 1-year non-compete clause for an active performer in a relatively fucking hungry business at his age where he needs to put himself out there to get paid. You can't do that, especially here in the United States. I believe he could probably go work in Mexico. If he wanted to go work in Mexico, he could probably go work in Mexico. But to not work in the United States for a full year, that's just inhumane, bro. You can't do that to somebody. That is fucked up. Completely fucked up. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know if Tony's going to help him try and solve this problem. I don't know what is going to do here. If he takes WWE to court, if Tony Khan helps him take WWE to court to fight this, I can't see this being something that they let fly. This is not going to fly in court. This is going to get thrown out. Whatever this contract is will get thrown out. It's inhumane. You can't stop somebody from making money, especially someone like a pro wrestler who needs to be, they are their own employer. Independent contractors. That's what they are. WWE doesn't act like they are. They want to own everything and everyone. They are independent contractors. They need to fend for themselves. They are their own boss. They need to go out there and make money. How is this guy going to do that if he's non-compete for 1 year? You can't do that. You can't do that. And I see a lot of people, a lot of the sickos, but JD, Ray Phoenix and Penta, you didn't have a problem with those guys. This is not the same fucking situation, bro. You're comparing fucking Budweiser to fucking some insanely fucking elaborate craft beer. You can't do that. You can't do it. Why are you comparing Ray Phoenix and Penta to Andrade's situation? Did Ray Phoenix and Penta fail wellness policy violations? Did they get nailed with wellness policy violations? Please tell me. Or did Andrade fuck himself up? They were put on ice because they wanted to go to WWE. Tony iced them for months. And Tony, if you sneeze the wrong way, will add injury time on top, injury time, and keep you there longer than you want. Instead of letting you go, he willingly keeps you captive. He willingly keeps you hostage and throws away the key to Guantanamo Bay. But you're asking me, well, why did you have a problem with Andrade and not have a problem with Ray Phoenix? Do you understand the issues that Tony Khan brings upon himself? Do you think Tony Khan is innocent in the grand scheme of this discussion? Oh, but WWE, JD, Every excuse that the sickos use when something embarrassing happens for their brand. Oh, but WWE. Why don't you look yourselves in the fucking mirror and realize that you are fuck-ups? No, but WWE. They got their own fucking problems. They're petty. They do their own bullshit. AEW's got their own ghosts in their closet, skeletons in their closet. You can't be comparing Rey Fenix and Penta to Andrade's situation. Apples and oranges here, bro. You can't do it. So that conversation is fucking dead before we even get into that. Stop. You make yourself look like a fucking absolute idiot. This is fucked up. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know how we're going to go about this. Andrade, I wish him the best. I do. I think he's fucking great. I really, really do. But I'm not going to sit here and claim workers' rights. Workers' rights. This guy fucked up. What would you like me to do? Defend Andrade for being a fuck up? He failed his own wellness test multiple times. If he didn't do that, we wouldn't be in this situation. He brought it upon himself, and then the fucking cascade of bullshit came down upon him. If he started to follow the fucking protocol from the beginning, we wouldn't be in this situation. Now we find ourselves in this situation, and I'm supposed to fucking be all pro Andrade because they levied a 1-year non-compete against him? Maybe you should hire better fucking legal. Or maybe Tony Khan needs to fire everybody there. Chris Peck and all these other fucking idiots. Kosha Irby, Mike Mansory, and all these other fucking retards over there that don't know what the fuck they're doing. Oh, yes, man. Yes, Tony. Yes, Tony. Let's bring in Andrade. We could use him. Now you're in the situation that you're in because all the people that you got working for you are fucking clueless. They didn't cover their fucking tracks. They allowed this guy back on television by doing none of the groundwork to see if it was safe and okay to do so. Then I'm supposed to be, poor Andrade. Poor Andrade. Give me a fucking break, bro. You get what you deserve. Karma coming back around for Tony Khan. The next time you want to fucking keep Britt Baker or anybody else on ice and put injury time on top of their existing contracts just to keep them there when they don't want to be there, now you'll think about this situation and maybe you'll operate a little bit differently next time. Karma is a fucking bitch, and I'm here to see it happen to Tony Khan. Thank you guys very much for all of your supports. If you guys did enjoy today's video, make sure you hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Go check out all the great content on the channel. We are rocking and rolling for the rest of October, man. We'll be live tonight for SmackDown right here on Off the Script. And please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of Andrade now getting 1 year potentially of non-competes. I'll see you tonight live for SmackDown right here on Off the Script. I'll see you guys later.